The hospital room was filled with the soft hum of machines and the occasional cry of a newborn. But amidst the flowers and congratulatory smiles, there was a tension no one could ignore. 19-year-old Ethan stood in the corner, arms crossed, his expression hard as stone. "She's not my sister," he declared, his voice cold enough to slice through the air. Family members exchanged uneasy glances, unsure whether to comfort him or confront him. This was supposed to be a day of joy, but Ethan's words dropped like a bombshell, and what came next would leave everyone speechless. Ethan had always been close to his mother, Claire. Ever since his father walked out when he was just 7, they had relied on each other. But when Claire remarried a man named David 2 years ago, everything changed. David was kind, gentle, and seemed to truly care for Ethan, but Ethan had never fully accepted him. So when Claire announced she was pregnant, Ethan's reaction was far from excitement. Instead, suspicion took root in his mind. He felt left out, almost betrayed, as though the arrival of a new baby meant his place in the family was being erased. In the months leading up to the birth, Ethan's resentment only grew. He noticed things: a hushed conversation between Claire and David, a phone call that ended abruptly when he walked into the room, letters that were hidden away. His mind started connecting dots that may not have even been there. "They're hiding something," he told his best friend Tyler. "And when that baby comes, I'm going to prove it." When the day finally arrived, and Claire held the baby girl in her arms, Ethan didn't feel the warmth or connection everyone else seemed to. He saw a stranger. Something about her didn't sit right with him: the color of her hair, the shape of her eyes. It was irrational, maybe even unfair, but Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that this child wasn't part of his family. So when the nurse asked if he wanted to hold her, he shook his head and muttered, "She's not my sister." His voice was loud enough for everyone to hear. David tried to reassure him. "Ethan, she's your sister in every way that matters." But Ethan's distrust was too deep. He demanded proof. At first, the family dismissed it as teenage angst, but Ethan was relentless. He insisted on a DNA test, and eventually, his persistence wore them down. Claire, heartbroken but determined to clear the air, agreed. The test was done quietly, with no fanfare, just a few swabs and signatures. Everyone assumed the results would prove Ethan wrong. For the next 2 weeks, Ethan lived in a haze of anticipation and anxiety. He avoided spending time with the baby, convinced that the test would reveal a hidden truth, something big enough to justify his doubts. When the envelope finally arrived, Claire and David sat at the kitchen table, their hands clasped tightly. Ethan tore it open, his pulse pounding in his ears. The first words made his stomach drop. The DNA confirmed that he and the newborn shared no biological connection whatsoever. Ethan's heart raced, both with vindication and confusion. He had been right, but what did it mean? Claire's eyes welled with tears as David leaned forward, ready to explain. It turned out that Claire had been keeping a painful secret. The baby was indeed not related to Ethan by blood. Months earlier, Claire's close friend, a young woman named Emily, had been diagnosed with a terminal illness shortly after giving birth. With no family to care for the child, Emily had asked Claire to take her in and raise her as her own. Claire had agreed, knowing that love, not blood, defined a family. She had planned to tell Ethan when the time was right, but she had underestimated how deeply he would resist the change. Ethan sat there, stunned. The anger that had driven him for months began to dissolve, replaced by something he hadn't expected: guilt. He had spent so much time rejecting his new sister that he hadn't stopped to think about the love and sacrifice it took for his mother to give a home to a child in need. Looking down at the tiny baby in her blanket, he saw not a stranger, but a life that now depended on them. Over the next few weeks, Ethan slowly began to warm to her. He started by offering to hold her while Claire cooked, then reading to her when she couldn't sleep. The bond didn't form overnight, but it grew in quiet moments, a small hand gripping his finger, a sleepy smile when she heard his voice. Eventually, Ethan stopped thinking of her as "not my sister" and started introducing her to friends as my little sis. Months later, on what would have been Emily's birthday, Claire told Ethan more about the woman who had trusted her with the baby. She showed him pictures and letters, and Ethan realized how much this little girl's life had already been shaped by loss and love. From that day, he promised himself he would protect her, not because of DNA, but because family meant showing up, no matter what. Sometimes, the people who come into our lives aren't connected to us by blood, but they become ours all the same. Ethan's journey from suspicion to acceptance proved that family isn't about the test results in an envelope. It's about the moments you choose to stay, to love, and to protect. And in the end, the sister he once refused to claim became the most unexpected and cherished part of his life. So the next time you find yourself doubting whether someone belongs in your world, remember this: sometimes the truest bonds are the ones we choose. If this story moved you, share it with someone who might need a reminder that love defines family more than any DNA ever could. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more real stories that prove life's biggest surprises often lead to its deepest connections.